Did you know a man who was once described as a merchant of death won a Nobel Prize for saving millions of lives? Meet Fritz Haber. Born in Breslau, Germany in the mid-19th century, Haber's early life was steeped in the rigors of academia. His fascination with chemistry was evident from a young age, a passion that would steer his life's trajectory in unexpected directions. Despite humble beginnings, Haber's relentless dedication and innate talent propelled him to the forefront of scientific discovery. His academic journey, filled with late-night studies, tireless research and persistent questioning, eventually led him to a prestigious professorship at the University of Karlsruhe. Here he would make groundbreaking discoveries that would forever change the world, for better and for worse. But Haber's story is far from a simple tale of scientific achievement. It's a complex narrative of a man whose genius was as much a curse as it was a blessing, a narrative that intertwines the potential of science with the unpredictability of destiny. At the turn of the 20th century, the world faced a pressing problem: how to feed its rapidly growing population. The Earth's soil was being depleted of nutrients, and traditional farming methods were not enough to sustain the increasing demands. Enter Fritz Haber, a German chemist with a solution that would change the course of history. Haber, together with Carl Bosch, a fellow chemist, embarked on a journey to solve this global crisis. They developed a groundbreaking process, now known as the haber-bosch process, that enabled the mass production of artificial fertilizers. The genius of this process lies in its ability to capture nitrogen from the air and combine it with hydrogen to produce ammonia, a vital ingredient in fertilizers. This revolutionary process was a game changer. For the first time in history, farmers had access to an affordable, effective and plentiful source of fertilizer. The use of these fertilizers significantly increased crop yields, revolutionizing the agriculture industry. No longer were farmers solely dependent on the natural fertility of the soil. They could now replenish the nutrients in the soil artificially, ensuring a steady food supply for the burgeoning population. The impact of Haber's creation was felt across the globe. From the wheat fields of the American Midwest to the rice paddies of Asia, farmers were able to produce more food, more efficiently. The threat of widespread famine was significantly reduced, and the world breathed a sigh of relief. Haber's work was not without controversy, as some argued that the use of artificial fertilizers disrupted natural ecosystems. However, there's no denying the pivotal role his discovery played in averting a global food crisis. In 1918, Haber's contribution to humanity was recognized with the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The man who started as a humble chemist had become the savior of hunger, his work forever altering the path of human civilization. But there's a darker side to Fritz Haber's legacy. Haber's genius wasn't confined to the realm of agriculture. As the storm clouds of the First World War gathered, he offered his brilliance to the German war effort. It was here that Haber's intellect took a sinister turn towards the development of chemical warfare. As a chemist, Haber was instrumental in the development of poison gas, a weapon that would redefine the nightmare of warfare. This wasn't simply a byproduct of war. It was a deliberate, calculated move to harness the power of science for destruction. Haber's work led to the creation of chlorine gas, a deadly compound that would claim countless lives on the battlefields of World War I. But Haber's contributions didn't stop there. He also oversaw the first successful deployment of these gases on the Western Front. Under his watchful eye, the Second Battle of Ypres, in April of 1915, saw the unleashing of this horrifying new weapon. The result was a scene of carnage and suffering that shocked the world. The ethical controversy surrounding Haber's work is profound. On one hand, his work in chemistry saved millions from starvation, but on the other, he masterminded a weapon that caused untold suffering and death. This dichotomy haunted Haber, a man of science who had seen his work used for both the preservation and destruction of life. Haber's personal life was marred by this contradiction. His wife Clara, herself a chemist, was deeply opposed to his involvement in chemical warfare. The moral conflict between them culminated in tragedy, with Clara taking her own life in despair. Haber's life was a paradox, embodying both the promise and peril of scientific progress. His story is a stark reminder of the dual nature of scientific innovation, the capacity to create and the capacity to destroy. It's a narrative that continues to resonate today, as we grapple with the moral and ethical implications of technological advancement. Haber's life was a paradox, embodying both the promise and peril of scientific progress. Despite his significant contributions, Fritz Haber's final years were marked by tragedy. After World War I, Haber found himself chasing the elusive dream of extracting gold from seawater, a venture that unfortunately proved unsuccessful. The world had changed, and Haber, once celebrated, now faced mounting challenges. As the winds of the Nazi era swept across Germany, Haber, a German Jew, was forced into exile. This man, who had once revolutionized the world of chemistry, found himself a stranger in his homeland. His journey led him to Switzerland, a retreat from the storm that had taken over his country. But the peace was short-lived. In the year 1934, Fritz Haber breathed his last, leaving behind a complex legacy. His life's work, both a blessing and a curse for humanity, continues to spark discussions, challenging us to ponder over the ethical dimensions of scientific innovation. Fritz Haber's life and work continue to provoke debate and reflection on the ethical dimensions of scientific innovation. Fritz Haber's life was a complex tapestry of triumph and tragedy, of life-saving advances and deadly weapons. Haber was a brilliant scientist whose work shifted the course of history. His development of the haber-bosch process was a game-changer, transforming agriculture by enabling the mass production of fertilizers. This innovation has been credited with saving countless lives from starvation, and for this, Haber was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. But there's a darker side to Haber's legacy. His expertise in chemistry also led to the development of chemical weapons during the First World War. This grim contribution to warfare earned him the chilling moniker, the father of chemical warfare. Fritz Haber's life and work present a striking paradox. His story is a poignant reminder of the duality of scientific progress, its potential to both nurture and destroy. Fritz Haber, a man who both fed the world and developed weapons of mass destruction, reminds us of the dual-edged sword that is scientific progress.